This is the plaintiff, Richard Coleman. He says the defendant moved into the apartment complex he manages, and the unruly woman attacked him and injured him. This woman's nothing but trouble. He had a bump over his eye for more than 3 months, and her boyfriend slashed his tires, so he's owed big time. He's suing for $5,644.96, the amount he's owed. This is the defendant, Tasha Kennedy. She says the plaintiff is a busybody, old hermit type of guy, and he didn't like it when she had friends over for a visit. He pushed her one day as she tried to leave the building, so she pushed him back in self-defense, and she's not paying this crazy guy a penny. She's accused of losing it big time. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $3,290 for emotional distress and a rent rebate.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Litigants have been sworn, Yana.
Thank you, Douglas. All right, Mr. Coleman, you are suing Ms. Kennedy for $5,644.96 in medical expenses, ripped tires, and pain and suffering. Most of it, $5,000 for pain and suffering. You have a counterclaim against him for $3,290 for emotional distress and moving costs. What happened?
She lived upstairs above me.
Okay.
I had been having trouble with them upstairs, making a lot of noise, complaints from other tenants about the noise. And
How many tenants are there in this building?
12 tenants.
Okay. And what is your role in the building?
I'm the on-site tattletale.
You're the on-site tattletale.
Pretty
you are
much.
not the property manager. You are not a super. You're just someone who's been there the longest, or?
I've known the owner of the building for about 30 years.
Okay, so go on.
She was moved into a bottom apartment in the beginning. Everything was good in the beginning, but as she asked for a doorbell, and I said, okay, I'll give you a doorbell. We'll put it on the back door entrance.
Okay, but how is it that why are you asking him for a doorbell? Had you ever been told that he was somebody there?
I was told that he was the manager of the building, as far as in he keeps the bathrooms clean, and he
Are there common
just
bathrooms
watches
in the building? Oh, you mean the
building.
bathrooms in each of the units?
Yeah,
Okay.
the bathrooms. No, there's a shared bathroom.
Oh, there is a shared bathroom.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there's one upstairs and downstairs. So he's just pretty much watches the grounds, or just keeps care of the building, is what I
Okay,
was.
do you have your own apartment there, or no?
I do.
But there's no bathroom in it?
Right, it's a shared. There's only like 12 people in there, and there's top floor and the bottom floor, and there's like, maybe 4 to each bathroom, or 5 to
Okay.
each bathroom.
All right.
It's a shared bathroom.
Okay, all right, so go on.
I caught him one day dealing drugs, and so I
You caught who dealing drugs?
Ryan right there.
The gentleman with her, Ryan.
Yeah.
And how did you catch him dealing drugs?
On the video, you'll see I have a camera that points right down in the doorway.
Uh-huh.
And I got another one behind me that points towards the entryway of the front.
Do you have video of him dealing drugs?
Yes, I do. No, not of dealing drugs. No,
Oh,
that's why
okay.
I just had
So,
a trespass.
according to you, you saw what in the camera?
I saw him put something in somebody's hand, take some money. And there was another
Do you
person.
know what he put in the person's hand?
No, I couldn't make it out. It was pretty small.
Why do you make the statement that he was dealing drugs if you didn't see that they were drugs?
It was a little plastic thing that he stuck in his hand.
So you kind of assumed that he was dealing drugs.
Oh, yeah, because
And
they
then
do it.
said or did what? What'd you do?
And I told him, I said, Ryan, you can't do that. And I said, I want you out of here. And I told her.
You told who I want you out of here?
I told Ryan I wanted him out of there.
Okay, was he living there?
He was pretty much.
Okay.
And he wasn't on the
And
lease.
on whose authority did you tell him that he could not, because she's paying rent.
Right.
And he is her guest. So being the guy who fixes the toilets doesn't give you the authority to tell somebody they can't be on the property.
No, I got 34 years clean and sober off of drugs and alcohol. And, so do a lot of the people and the owner of the building.
No, you don't have to explain to me why you, let's assume he's dealing drugs. You don't need to explain to me why you want somebody dealing drugs off. That's not the question. The question is, there's a protocol. Like, some people have the right to tell him not to be on that property and some people don't. And if all you are the local tattletale, and because you know the landlord because you've been there the longest, That's not the same as having the authority to tell her who she can and can't have there. The protocol would be for you to tell the landlord and the landlord to deal with her.
I did tell the landlord.
But he didn't do anything. The landlord didn't do anything, right?
No, they didn't.
All right, so go on.
The only reason that I had him trespassed off.
When you say you had, okay, stop.
Stop.
When you say I had him trespassed off, you referring to Ryan?
I'm turning to Ryan, yeah.
Okay, I had him trespassed off. What does that phrase mean?
That means that he was escorted off the property because
By
he
whom?
wasn't by a police officer.
Okay.
The same police officer that came back when her and I got into the scuttle with the arm, the head, and all that.
Okay.
She says, okay.
Were you
trespass.
escorted off the property by the police, Ryan?
I never got trespassed off the property before.
Did the police ever escort you off the property?
Never. They never said anything.
Okay,
Except the one
go
time.
on.
All of a sudden, about not even an hour after she came to the house, and she come, and the first thing you see on the video is she just right up in my face. I'm standing in the door, and she's got the camera right down looking at her, and you just see her just ranting. And I keep saying, don't bring him in here because he has just been trespassed, and he will go to jail. And the police officer was ready
Except
to
for none of that's true, right?
It is true.
How did you have him
I said
trespassed?
trespass. I'm sorry.
No, how would he go to jail? Why can't he go in there? Because you say so, but you're just the building
because
tattletale. You're not by your own words. Okay. You're not the property manager. You're not the owner.
Okay. Well, every time that I had to write her up, there's more write-ups, and you'll have them in your desk. She always argued about it. Oh, my guests don't do that. The dogs don't do that, because he'd let his dogs run the hall upstairs.
I'm just so desperately trying to find out how you think that you're the sheriff in town when you're saying, I just had him trespass and he can't come in here. And she's paying rent and she's like, the hell he can't, he's my guest. According to you, why is he spending so much time at your house?
Because he has cancer, and when he goes and gets chemotherapy, the hospital's closer to my house, and I like to stay with him when he has his chemo because I don't want him to be sick by himself.
And what is the relationship between you two?
He's my best friend.
Okay, how long have you two known each other?
20 years over, probably more. Okay. And he's just he's got, and I want to make sure that he's okay when he does his chemo. That's
okay.
all.
How often has Mr. Coleman, he says, written you up? What does that mean? What's?
Oh, he writes me
How
up
long
for
were you
everything.
living there? Are you still living there? No, right?
No, I moved
right,
out.
Okay. Well, how long were you living there?
About a year, a little over a year.
Okay.
And for everything, because I'm a social girl. I have friends. I come in and out. He pretty much stays in his apartment all the time. So to him, I had a lot of activity. But I didn't really. I mean, I would come in late.
Did the landlord ever say anything to you?
No.
Did the management
Never.
company ever say anything
Never.
to you? So it's just your neighbor complaining?
Just him downstairs, yes.
Okay. And when he would say something to you, what would you say back to him?
I would argue back because I feel like that he has no right to tell me. I did have a boyfriend that came there that did cause some problems, and I broke up with him. He's off the property. He didn't come back. But everybody that came over after that, he accused of being him all the time. Is that him up in your apartment? He'd send the cops up to my house to see, and it would be a coworker, and I'd be just completely embarrassed. And
the problem with the boyfriend was domestic violence.
It was, and he's gone. And I agree with that. I totally agreed, and so that's fine. But Ryan, he has no right to pick on Ryan. He just doesn't like Ryan for some reason.
Why doesn't he like Ryan? He says he doesn't like Ryan because Ryan was dealing drugs in your apartment.
No, I don't know why he doesn't like Ryan. He just doesn't like him. I mean, Ryan's a likable guy.
The plaintiff says the defendant attacked him in the doorway of his home, injuring him badly, and he's owed big time. The defendant says the plaintiff is a busybody. He was the one who pushed her, and she doesn't owe him a penny. Let's listen.
Ryan, can I ask you a question? Were you selling something?
I wasn't selling anything. I gave somebody money to give me a pack of cigarettes, which was a guy.
So that's what he saw on the video.
That's what he saw on the video.
All right. So let's talk about the day in question.
Well, she came in the videos. You'll see it. She'll come in from the right.
Hold on. Go
She'll
ahead.
come in from the right on the video. She'll go and get right in front of me. She's hollering, and she grabs me and grabs my arm and tries to jerk me out of the doorway. And then that's when we both went down. Then you can see where she goes back up. We both get up, and I stand back in the doorway. And then towards the end of the video, you can see her just rush into me.
So was she trying to push you out of her way so she can get in?
The first time, she grabbed my arm, tried to drag me out of the way. And the second time, she grabbed him, and you can see him bring him over to the front door. And that's when all of a sudden, boom, I had something hit me over the head. And,
Wait, what hit you over the head?
well, I think it was either a phone or keys, one to the other, but it hit me right here.
Okay.
Okay. And she started to swing again, and I put my hand up to catch her arm so she wouldn't hit me. And her arm came down, hit my thumb, and just bent it. like
Okay, so what happened to your thumb?
The doctor said it's called player's thumb. A lot of baseball players, bends that thing back, and it takes a while for it to heal because your muscle is stretched.
All right, you're also suing for monies to replace front tires. Who do you think slashed your tires?
It was Mason. I know it was Mason.
Okay,
I
so
could see
but
the
why
way-
would she have to pay for Mason slashing your tires?
Because that's how she works. They work. There's always retaliation.
I don't understand. If
Okay.
if you know who slashed your tires because you saw them on video, go to the police and have that person arrested. That wouldn't make her legally responsible to pay for your tires. That someone who she dumped slashed your tires.
No, she says she
Okay.
dumps him, but she still hangs out with him.
Yeah, it's still. If he was her greatest love of the earth and she was hanging out with him this second, that wouldn't make her responsible. All right, and the pain and suffering. What pain and suffering has been? Tell me about the pain and suffering.
Well, the day after, right after this happened, I went right up to the emergency room, and my hand was all swelled up. You got pictures of that back there, and the big bump on my head was where she hit me on there, on the head. So that's what was taken
Well,
care
actually,
of.
and before that happens, you wait for the police,
I waited for
right?
the police.
And do the police arrest anybody?
No, I asked him not to. I just wanted him not to come in the building.
Okay,
and
but
deal
hold
drugs.
on. You asked them not to, or you showed them the video and argued that they should arrest her?
Well, I didn't argue. I just didn't want him arrested. I just wanted
Did you
to keep
show the
him-
police the video and
Yes.
ask them to arrest her?
I didn't ask him to arrest him.
Okay. Let me hear your version of what happens, and then we'll see the video.
Okay, we came back from chemo, and we were trying to get into the building. He wasn't feeling good, and he wouldn't let him in. And I was trying to get in the door from what I can remember, and I know that he shoved me back. I fell down on the ground, and then my friend Katrina was there and him, and they were like, whoa, and I couldn't believe it, and I got up and I started bum rushing the door trying to get in because then there was a big scuffle, and then the next day I seen him, and he's like, look what you're paying for, and he holds up his hand, and I was just like...
Okay, so when the police get there, what happens with the police?
The police came and I told them, go ahead and look at the video, and you can see who's clearly threw me. He threw me down, and Ryan left peacefully on his own. He didn't want any problems, so he just left. And it was like wasn't it really hot that day? It was like 100 degrees outside. He just had chemo, and he's outside sitting in the sun because he won't let him in the apartment. And so the police came upstairs. They said, well, it's kind of fuzzy, the video. That's all they said to me. And they said, do you want to press charges? And I said no, and that was that.
Okay.
And then I decided I would just move out.
So
because-
tell me about the move. What happens? Because you have a counterclaim for your moving costs. Go ahead.
The owner of the building came to me and said, "Hey, I'm going to give you a deposit back. I'm going to give you 2 months the last month's free rent, and I'm not going to give you eviction. You just go ahead and go peacefully." Because I was assuming because I probably could have sued him because he
Did he make you sign a release?
No, he just, and then he gave me my deposit back, my check, and then but then until I found another place to live, I had to stay in my truck. I had to pay first and last of a new place.
How long? Okay, he told you he would give you all that if you left. How soon?
I didn't really have, we didn't have a time amount, but I mean, with Ryan not being able to go in the building.
So why were you sleeping in the car then? If he didn't give you a time amount, why didn't you just stay there?
Because I wanted to get out. Well,
Okay,
no, I guess
okay.
he did give me a time. He did say if you could be out by the end of the month. That's what he said. That's right.
Okay,
That's
and
fine.
what day did all this stuff happen?
Oh, I don't remember the exact date, but I had to be out by the end of the month.
Right, but what day did this happen, Mr. Coleman?
It happened on the 14th of August.
Okay, so you had 2 weeks. So then, all right, so he gives you 3 months, right? The security deposit in 2 months?
And no, I didn't have to pay rent for the last 2 months because I hadn't paid rent in the last 2 months.
You were
I was
behind
already.
Okay.
So he said we'll squash those, and he said and he gave my security deposit
Got it.
back. But then I had to find another place. I had to pay first and last, and I had to and just having me.
Yeah,
and
but that
Ryan-
was a decision that you made. You didn't want to stay there anymore. You took the
Right.
deal, and so why would he
You're
have to
right.
pay your moving costs?
I don't know. I just
Threw
thought
it in
maybe
there.
I was
All right,
angry.
let's look at the video.
You see the picture on the left. That's
Top
where-
left?
The top left, you'll see where she's calling him right now. and he's going to come in on the film on the left.
The picture on the top right is a picture of her?
Of her, yes.
What are you wearing?
I work at a gas station.
Okay, so you're wearing like the
Reflective,
neon whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to see the action on all 4 cameras at the same time when I press play.
Okay.
So
She's
she is in the
calling
top
Ry-
saying, Ryan, come, Ryan, come.
Right.
This is your other friend.
Yeah, she was in my apartment.
And she's hollering at me, I'm bringing Ryan in here, what'd you do? And it's like, okay. And
So now you are standing blocking the one way she has to get in, right?
the one
Yeah.
way he had to get in, she can
Both
come in
of
anytime.
us.
She or he or anyone else who needs to live there.
Yeah, they can come
And
in.
you're telling her your guest can't come in.
That's what I said. You see, she's right up in my face right there.
No, I'm saying you can't tell me not coming in because he just had chemo. He has to come in. He's sick.
And that's you on the top right yelling at him, and that's him.
Yeah, he was gonna leave but I told him no. It's 100 degrees out. You're not going out there like that.
Gotcha. Then
I'm trying to
then you
call
go into that
911.
other, and she's pulling. Poor Ryan. Ryan doesn't have enough problems.
He's trying to be nice.
There's where she charged the first time. And that's
Okay.
what we both went down.
No, he was
All
shutting
right,
me down.
stop. Let's look at that one more time.
There she is.
That's the one where she drags my arm and we both go down.
Shoves me.
Well, I mean, you kind of are pushing your way through in order to get in, but like I can see that on the top right.
He shouldn't be helping me.
Right there. That's the one where she drags
You're
my
pushing
arm
to
and we
move
both go
him
down.
back so that you can get in and Ryan can get in, and then he, according to you, what I see on the bottom is him shoving up against you, and that's why you both knocked down. So let's look at the bottom again.
That's the one where she drags my arm and we both go down.
Did you ever grab his arm? Because I don't see anywhere where you're grabbing his arm in this video. If she grabbed your arm rather than you rushed back at her and fell on her, why don't I see that in the video, Mr. Coleman?
Well, there's probably just a little bit of distance between her and me and the door. You can see my hands. but-
Yeah, get out of the doorway. All right, so here we are. Now I guess you're calling the police, right?
Right,
On
I'm
the
trying
bottom
to,
right.
my phone won't work.
She's yelling. She's trying to get poor Ryan in there. Poor Ryan's tapping her on the shoulder saying,
I'll just leave. He's saying I'll just leave.
and then this video is what the subject of this big dispute is.
See, there's where she hit. Boom, there's the first swing. Lordy, lordy. And I'm just trying to get out of there. See, there's where she hit. Boom, there's the first
What'd you do?
swing.
You punch her in the face when
Lordy,
she hit you?
lordy. And
No,
I'm just
I
trying
tried to
Cell
block her
phone on top of my
hand.
head.
I tried to block
See,
her
there's where
hand.
she-
Block her hand? No, you hit her back.
Welcome back to the People's Court. I'm Harvey Levin. The plaintiff says the defendant is nothing but trouble. Her boyfriend slashed his tires, so he wants the $5,000 he's out. Now, the defendant says the plaintiff is the resident tattletale, and all she did was defend herself, so she owes him squat. Let's go back into the courtroom.
I was trying to get my hand loose from under her arm.
Why don't you just go in your apartment and call the landlord or the property manager or the police or whatever you want to do? Why
Yeah,
are
but-
you blocking the woman's entrance into her house when she has a cancer patient who just had chemotherapy who she doesn't want out in the hot sun?
You have a
What did the police do? The police said they couldn't tell who was the initial aggressor from looking at the video, right?
Right. They just saw the 3 pictures and not the big one. I went and
The
copied
big
that.
one is just the same thing, bigger. They
Yeah.
saw that. They saw anything you had to show them, and they refused to arrest her because they couldn't tell who the aggressor was, right? When they heard the whole story.
Well, I was just trying to get him escorted and get her straightened out. The fact that
Did
he
you
was
know that
just-
he had just come from chemotherapy?
No, she just said.
Let me hear from you, Ryan.
Yes, he did.
And what did he say?
He said, I don't care. You get out of here.
Yeah. Mr. Coleman, based on the evidence that I'm hearing, I am not going to order anyone to pay you anything. You're also not entitled to the emotional distress. Now, I know you filed it because you're angry and because he filed against you. Good riddance. I'm glad you're out of that place. And I think you're right that the owner probably gave you that deal because he just didn't want any more problems and he knows him better and he doesn't want to have issues or for whatever reason. You, sir, are not the boss of people because you've been around a long time. I don't know why you think you're the grand poobah of the place, but unless somebody gives you the authority, if I was the owner, I would have taken you out and not her. because you are the one who's going to cause me civil liability. But hey, if you're tight with the owner and that's good for you. Or have the owner give you, I trespassed him. I don't know what you're talking about. The woman is paying rent and she has a right to bring him into her apartment. On these facts, I am not going to award you a penny. I can't tell who was the aggressor either.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff fails in his effort to get $5,000 from the defendant in this case. Let's see what he has to say about it. Mr. Coleman, what are you thinking?
Well, I got to go with the judge, but I've known the owner of the building for 35 years. We, protect each other's interests is what we do. And, it's okay that I lost, I mean, that's just the way it is, But, I'm glad that she's not in the building anymore, which is nice, but I still look for retaliation from her boyfriend. So that's all. I'm looking for that when I get home.
All right, well, as the judge says, you're not the sheriff in town, So you really had no right to do any of that in the beginning. So that's why you didn't prevail.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. All right, let's see what the defendant has to say about this. Ms. Kennedy, you're out of it. I'm sure you're glad you didn't have to pay him any money, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, it's really kind of a crazy situation. You must have been really tough living in that apartment with 12 other people and sharing bathrooms.
Oh,
How
yeah.
did that work?
Yeah. I don't live there anymore, though. I live in a better place, so I'm good.
Yeah, all right. Well, good luck to you. Good enough. All right, so this dispute comes to an end. Harvey, what are your thoughts?
In most cases, Doug, the judge can figure out who started a fight, who the aggressor was, and who was simply using self-defense. Sometimes you just can't figure it out, and it looks like mutual combat, so nobody wins. That's what happened here.
Can you settle an argument? A coworker says that cops can't give you a ticket in a parking lot because it's private property. I say that they can on certain circumstances. Who is right?
I'm going to go with the friend who says they can under certain circumstances. Yeah. Because, all of us have gotten tickets, I think, sometimes maybe parked in the church parking lot or at a shopping center. You can get them.
Right.
If you have an inspection requirement in your state and that's expired, and somebody can just look at your tag and see that the sticker's outdated or is missing or something like that, and a police officer can walk right into your driveway and see. He saw it from the street. He can walk right over and put the ticket on your windshield, right, where your car sits, and it's going to stick.
But even if he saw it because he happened to have business in the mall, right, I think he can still do that. Right. Doesn't matter where you are. If it's expired, it's expired. You don't have. Right. I just think when it's. I think that why the other person's saying that is it's not like improper parking, right, unless, right, there's an agreement between the owners of the shopping center and local law enforcement. Right. I got a ticket once for parking in a compact vehicle space. Ooh. On a private parking area.
Really?
The Whole Foods.
And it didn't say city of or anything on there?
No, it sure did say that.
It did,
I paid the ticket. I did. I was a big fat Pacifica parked in a compact because there's no parking there. And I really wanted whatever it was I was getting.
So what a scofflaw. You just parked right
I immediately paid.
I
paid
you
the
took
ticket.
Your lumps,
but I got my ticket.
You shouldn't have been in that space.
I shouldn't have been in that space. It said compact.
How about that?
Yeah, I don't think I told you about that.
I'll have to remember that.